What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's AttackonSamurott, bringing you all some Pokemon Showdown Friendlies. Yes, it's been quite a while since I've done some friendlies on the channel, but I'm back, and I have a guest with me, a new guest on the channel. He's pretty good, honestly. He's probably one of the best ADV players out there, honestly, and as well as played in like Black and White, even DPP as well. I want to introduce you guys to Eden. Eden is one of the nicest people in the community, and is so helpful as well. So Eden, you can take the floor.
Yo, it's Eden here. Mostly an old gen player at this point. I dabble in everything from GSC, Black White, RBY, but my home tier has always been ADV, so I'm looking forward to getting a few games in.
That's
and
it?
like having
my bad.
I mean, no, it's all good. Yeah, I basically didn't know what else to say because like that's kind of all I see myself as a player. Is like I just kind of dabble in a lot of tiers to keep myself engaged, basically.
Mhm.
So it's been a while since I've played ADV regularly, so I'm looking forward to getting back into the swing of things.
Hey, I mean, you've been really like helpful in helping me, like practice when I was, on my break. So I really do appreciate that.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I don't mind like taking some time out to help people trying to learn. So yeah, so just hit me up with a challenge whenever, and we can talk about ADV or TPP or whatever the hell it is you want to talk about
All right, bet.
while we get the games in.
Okay, cool. Before we get started though, please make sure, for you guys, make sure to leave a like and comment on the video, as well as subscribe. I'm on my way to reaching 450 subscribers soon. We're less than 30 subs away, so I'd love to hit that goal, hopefully by the end of October. So let's just keep that momentum going, and if possible, I would like to hit 500 or more subscribers by the end of the year. So just keep that momentum going, and yeah. So anyways, I'm ready, Eden. Let's get some games in.
Sure.
Oh, I probably should have mentioned to you guys that Eden is also. Aren't you a tournament player too? Like you sometimes play in tours.
I mean, I'm a 26-year-old dude with a job, so like, I kind of drifted out of playing tours super seriously. I mean, I do enjoy playing them, but yeah, my time schedule doesn't really permit playing as much as I'd like. But yeah, I do play tour. I actually played a lot last year because I was basically in lockdown, so I played a lot. Yeah. I mean, I am a tour player in that sense, in that I've played my share of tour games with stakes in them, so that was enjoyable while it lasted. Right, so I can walk you through this game actually. Like I enjoy kind of just walking through a game from my end, and then you can correct me after the game if you want.
Okay.
So
Actually, I think this time we're just gonna play it out. So
sure.
yeah, like I was just gonna give a little bit more background. Eden's also really good at being like a tutor as well. So he's actually helped tutor not only me but also tutored Bluebird as well. So again, he's really good at breaking down like certain situations in a matchup, and really just guiding the player through it. So again, very helpful, my guy. I really do appreciate that.
Yeah, all good. So
But
all
yeah,
right, so we can just go through it after then. So
okay,
let's
that's
all right,
fine.
yeah, let's get
All
this
right,
going.
well, definitely gonna hit this.
Let's see. This sort of matchup is always kind of interesting to me. Bringing like a slowish sand into Blaziken. So this is
Well, Blaziken in general always, like.
yeah, he always has potential to pull something slow apart.
But it also, it just sucks that you don't see Blaziken really in tournament games. It's just, really more of a ladder kind of mon that you'd see, or maybe even like again friendlies. You rarely see it in tours, if at all.
It's kind of I feel like I've seen it a few times. Like I've seen it enough to know what it does, but like I don't think anybody really uses it much. There was one tour game with it with like Breloom, Blaziken, Snorlax, Zapdos, Tyranitar, and Metagross, I think.
Oh,
I think Zomog used it versus someone 1 SPL ago. So it's like that's one of its rare showings in tours.
I see. I also remember Passy G using it one time as well. For one
Right.
tour. Yeah. Oh, dang. Maybe that was a little too early to show off. What do you think, Eden?
I feel like that wasn't actually gonna connect because like I think I didn't reveal. Yeah, you basically saw no sand and like there's no item on the Zapdos, so that might have been a little bit too reckless. That probably wouldn't have landed into anything, honestly. We're probably just gonna meet a switch.
I see. Okay. Well, I feel pretty safe doing this though.
Yeah, that's pretty fine. Protecting. Yep. Yeah, the great thing about Skarmory in ADV is like you are basically guaranteed to live any one hit from things you. Well, for the most part, you live like a lot of hits you probably shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of risky, but
Yeah, a little bit, but
That
you
was
know I
kinda
like to play a little risky.
yeah, that was kind of risky for me to toxic there probably, but
Mhm.
I probably needed to get this on a timer.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, that's fine. So like the moment I saw this Blaziken, my first thought, I was actually very tempted to toxic off of your Swampert into the Blaziken
Mm-hmm.
and timer it early, but I figured the spike was better in a long-term sense. So like I just went for the spike. So I guess it's done its job somewhat at this point. I'm not really going to be too greedy with Skarmory from here. Like it did its job, got a spike. Getting the toxic felt like a bonus.
Yeah,
So let me see what else I can do here.
that's fine. I don't mind that too
This-
much. There we go.
Sort of matchup is fine.
So, since you're itemless, or not itemless, but you probably have like Magnet on Zapdos, that's definitely something I gotta be aware of.
Yeah, you should also probably consider Choice Band, even though that's kind of rare, but that's also, well, it's not really a thing per se, but it would be something I'd consider when I see no item.
That's true. That's true too.
Lumberry is kind of rare, but that's also a thing.
Or even like Subpataya as well.
Yeah, that would be more on a team without Skarm, in all likelihood.
I see. Wait, actually, yeah, that would make sense because you would be running a more hyper offense team anyway. Okay, I see. I don't know if I want to sack it this early. But that Zapdos scares me. I cannot lie.
Zapdos is in a good position.
I'm gonna do this. Okay, that's fine. Ooh. Nice. Nice. Okay. This is a really cool zap.
Yeah, Lumberry's pretty good.
Oh, so you were actually right about the Lumberry. Oh shoot.
Yeah, it's well, I didn't mean to reveal it, but yeah, Lumberry
I mean
is
it-
probably the first thing I'd think of if I saw a non-drill pack, if I saw a non-band damage on Tyranitar and its attack invested, I'd probably jump to Lumberry at that point.
I see. I didn't really consider it that much, or consider it at this point. But that is cool. That is very cool. Now I'm kind of stuck here with this Zapdos. Well, now that I know what you are, I guess Pert's safe then. In this case, Yeah. So, Eden, I have a question. What's your favorite Pokemon game? Like, which one do you like?
As an in-game, I'd say probably I've played the most out of Emerald as a kid.
Really?
Yeah, I've played the hell out of that as a kid. My first one was Crystal.
Oh.
I'd say if you're talking about like objectively, you have to look at Heart Gold, Soul Silver, or Black White. Those are like objectively very good games.
Well, so your favorite's Emerald then?
I'd say I've played it the most. I don't know that it's like my absolute favorite, but I've definitely played it the most.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a really good game. Battle Frontier is very good for killing time when you have nothing else to do.
Yeah, I'd probably say for me, my favorite games are like the Gen 4 games. Like, I pretty much
they're
grew up on
excellent.
those. Mm-hmm.
I'd say my only issue with the DPP games is that they're extremely slow. And I've been spoiled by emulators, so I cannot subject myself to the DS experience with DPP games. I cannot. I'd love to do it, but I cannot. I need my ×4 or ×2 or what. ×2 is ×2 is fine. The music kind of gets messed up, so you have to mess around with the settings. But the originals are way too slow. They're not playable for me. I definitely got spoiled a bit in the emulator era.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, like I'm pretty sure with the remakes, they're definitely gonna like fix the whole speed issue. That's pretty much guaranteed. That's a tough miss.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah. Alright, come on, Pickles. There you go. By the way, I hope you got the nicknames.
Oh, it's literally just the ingredients to a Krabby Patty.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
This is fine. Okay, it wasn't fine. I think I want to be aggressive here. Okay. That was a good toss.
Let me see. Yeah, Blissey's kind of whatever at this point. But
That's fair.
Yeah, there was definitely a more aggressive move I could have made. Like, I was very tempted to double back to Jirachi. That would have been a very... that was a move, I guess. It was hard to make. I could have done it, though.
Yeah, that definitely would have messed me up. That's fine.
This turn's hard.
It's a tough crit.
Cool too. Yeah, Blaziken is kind of rough. Like, you gotta make really awkward pivots around it. Yeah, okay, that was fine. Yeah, the seismic toss helped me timer it a little bit extra, but it was still kind of a major headache for this team, which is kind of expected.
Yeah, but at this point, you know, it's kind of interesting to see how you'll play around this. Let's see. Also, Eden, do you have a favorite Pokemon in mind? Like, anything? Doesn't matter, like, what Pokemon it is. Just want to know what your favorite is.
Well, I'm from ADV, so I've always been a big fan of Jirachi's design. I'd say competitively, Tyranitar is my favorite, and design-wise, I probably like Jirachi a lot.
Like, every time like I'm asked this question on what my favorite Pokemon is, I always have a hard time trying to figure it out because I like all of them.
I feel like part of it is tied to I tend to like stuff that I use a lot.
Yeah.
So like I feel like it would be I couldn't say that like something like Muck is my favorite with a straight face because like I'd say design-wise there are a lot of interesting ones that I'd say like something like possibly I think Dragonair has a really elegant looking design.
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely Pokemon with really interesting, really elegant sort of designs. But when it comes down to favorite, it has to be something that that I've used a lot in game, and even in game, like I don't think I use stuff like Butterfree or Beedrill in playthroughs because like too much effort to abandon it like one gym in and pick up something new.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if in ROM hacks I imagine it's way different because there's like a lot of balancing done to make those sort of mons way better. Like I'm pretty sure I don't remember the name of the ROM, but like, there was one where they notably improved stuff like Delibird and other mons like that you would normally never use in a real game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I don't know. For me, I'd probably say something like I don't know, like I guess for ADV or I guess the Gen 3 games, I'd probably say my favorite is Swampert. Like Swampert's design is so cool.
Swampert's great. Yeah, no, it's super cool. No, I've always been. I guess I always thought Vaporeon had a really cool design, and Espeon. Those are pretty. I think a lot of the evolutions in general have really well done designs.
Agreed. Well, if you're DD, I'm in a tough spot. Okay.
I kind of took a guess at that being like Ice Punch, Thunderbolt, Psychic, Calm Mind, so I wanted to catch a Zapdos, trying to get damage on the Tyranitar. So I was actually aiming at like a Zapdos or Aerodactyl on that turn, so yeah, that would have been nice to land.
Yeah, that definitely would have messed up my arrow, but at least I get damage on this. That's a
fine. I still get one Rock Slide off, so that's fine. So I guess, no, it's definitely like, yeah, this part's always interesting where you try to take a shot at what's there in the back. I'd say Zapdos or Lax probably would be my guess. That would be my best guess. So
well, my team is my team is Spikeless off, and I also tested this team against you before too.
Yeah, I don't remember offhand. Like, it's probably Zapdos or Snorlax. Even if I'd never seen it before, that would be my first guess, just because I cannot see someone rolling up with a team where Zapdos just clicks buttons 24/7. So I would take. See, this is actually a very awkward spot because I can't really throw the Tyranitar just yet.
Right.
I still needed to get that little bit of extra chip on that little bit of extra chip on the Jirachi so I can finish it off with something else. I mean, I'm probably like slightly feel like I don't know if 2 Thunderbolts KO the Tyranitar, but I kind of doubt it after my leftovers kick in. So I'd say so. The good thing is like the moment I saw Ice Punch on the Jirachi, I kind of started looking for ways to pick off because Ice Punch Jirachi does not do jack to Tyranitar like 90% of the time. It's
right.
Like
of course, the freezing can happen, but yeah.
Yeah, the freezing could have happened, but like I was like, yeah, I don't really play that scared around. I think one thing someone told me a long time ago when I was really new, like back in 2016 or 15, someone told me that you can't play too scared around crits, freezes, and stuff like that. Like, I mean, you gotta consider it where you can, but you can't like let it make you do the obviously wrong. Like, you can't play too safe around stuff like that. If it happens, like sometimes you're so far ahead that you can account for it, and it literally does not matter if they get 3 freezes, 4 freezes. It just doesn't matter. But other games, like, you won't have any room. Like here, I have no room. If you freeze me, you freeze me, and that's kind of it. Yeah, if you froze me, I would have just said tough luck, and I would have quit, and we would have moved on to the next game.
Right.
So that's something I got a lot better at when I was like a kid, and now that I'm like an older adult, like it's way easier to just brush it off and be like, all right, I got unlucky. Who cares? Just play the next game.
Yeah, it's kind of, you know, how luck is really. Whatever happens,
Yeah, like
happens.
if it happens, too bad. Like you can't just sit there and whine about it.
Mm-hmm.
So here, yeah, this is like one reason why I really like Jirachi, because like it has that perfect mix of bulk and power. Like it's I would say it's like overly powerful, but it like has enough bulk for key stuff like earthquakes or thunderbolts. Like it's always is just out of range.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that I really like about using it.
Oh, well, there it is.
Let me see. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, that just happens. That's just part of the game.
Yeah.
So what I would do now is, so like from here, there's a really interesting. From here, the end game's actually, so like the first thing you did, right? You obviously you needed the freeze on the string. Like from here, from there, at that point, freeze was the correct move. So from here, the way I'm looking at it is, I need to. So you probably want to keep this frozen. So like I'd say your next move is. So it's kind of complicated because like if you have Snorlax last, I want to like have Swampert alive to get some last hits off versus it.
Mm-hmm.
If your last is Zapdos, I want Blissey around, and Blissey cannot really take on a Super Jirachi. That does not really happen.
Yeah.
So like if you Thunderbolted here, which is a pretty fair move to expect, Thunderbolt into Tyranitar to get benefit out of having frozen me this turn. I'd go Blissey, I'd recover, you'd probably click Psychic, and I guess it's fine, but like it can go wrong. So it would depend on if the Jirachi can beat the Zapdos at that point. So there are a few ways to play it out. So I guess this is okay. It's not like a great end game, but it's one of the end games available. It's like just go to this.
It also depends on if you have like T-Wave or like some status move for me. If you have that, then yeah, you have a way around this.
If I had T-Wave, this would have been very over. So let me.
I'm gonna say it now. I think I made a misplay with Rachi, like early. I made a pretty big misplay with this one.
So it's Wish. Okay. Okay, this makes sense. Yeah. Get a Wish off. Oh, that was Wish.
Oh shoot. I didn't think you'd do that. Oh man, okay. This is fine.
Alright, let me try this then. Yeah, I probably hammed it up. Like, I should have just gone to this immediately after the freeze. I should have gone to the Swampert, tried to roar you out, but I was kind of scared of wanting something for Lax at the end. But I still need the Blissey, so I can't quite toss it just yet.
Right.
Yeah, the end game is awkward. I don't think I played it perfect. I played it fine until the Tar got frozen. I think I started misstepping after that. So, interesting. Let's say take one shot.
Okay. Oh no.
Oh, cool. Okay, GG. GG.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. It depends. Well, you're faster than me. If you have Psychic, I'm okay. But if you don't,
oh, it's probably. Yeah, this end game really awkwardly positioned me.
But yeah, I didn't think that kill. Wow.
GG.
Right. GG's.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like, it was at +4, so it was obviously gonna kill.
No, like,
so,
I made a misplay not sacking Rachi. I should have sacked it. Then I could have got this up with DD Tar or DD Mets.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of like paired. Wasn't really thinking about DD Mets in the back. But okay, yeah, cool game. So, yeah, if I had if the T-Tar didn't get paralyzed, what it didn't get frozen, probably how the end game plays out is I kill the Jirachi off, I get a rock slide on your Dragon Dance, I sack, and the Jirachi being at full probably takes the end game after that. So that
Yeah.
would have been how I looked to close it out. So yeah, that was a pretty basic, uninteresting team for me, which is like kind of a basic, uninteresting person team-wise. So I work in finance and engineering, so like us guys are not known for being very interesting with what we do. So it kind of reflects in the teams I play. I play like a lot of very traditional, classic, strong stuff is kind of how I'd categorize my favorite teams.
Hmm. So
So
so you're more of the what's the type? Um, honestly, I don't really know what this team is per se. Like, I don't want to say it's not. It feels like bulky offense, you know. That's what it feels like
pretty
to
much
me.
bulky offense.
Yeah.
I'd say that's like what I enjoy playing the most.
Hmm.
Bulky offense gives you a good degree of control and room to play around stuff. So that's probably what I find myself playing more often than not.
I see.
So okay, that was pretty interesting. That was a cool, interesting game. So I actually messed around with some teams. So let me see how this one works.
All right, bet. I'm
I'm
down
not
for the creativity.
sure. I'm not sure how great it is, but it's interesting. It's still a fairly normal team, but it's interesting. It has some stuff about it that's pretty cool. So okay, this is the second one. Um,
Oh, so I guess
this
like.
matchup's always interesting.
Hmm.
This particular matchup is always interesting. Like, Tar into Zapdos. Like, it's actually not as safe to kill the Zapdos as you'd think it is, because
Right.
there's always
The
the
Doug.
hazard of there's always more the risk of weather reset. Like, depending on what sort of team you are, you might not be too eager to face weather reset immediately. So this turn's always like, I wouldn't say either is outright favored on this turn one here. So okay, cool. So I got some info out of it. Oh,
Well, um, yeah. Again, this lead is always interesting to me. Like every time I see it, I'm just like, wow.
yeah,
Like the
people
Zap.
click
Hmm.
whatever. Like Thunderbolt on Focus Punch is very much a thing.
Yeah.
Zapdos running bulk for Rock Slide is very much a thing.
Yeah.
Zapdos sacking itself turn one to Duggy is a thing. Zapdos baton passing to a Breloom, Swampert, or a Metagross is also very much a thing. So there are like uh, Zapdos baton passing into Skarmory is also a thing. Zapdos BPing into Gengar when it sees a Focus Punch from Tyranitar is also so there's like 8 or 9 different ways that turn can go, opening wise.
Exactly.
But like, I personally would never switch a Zapdos into switch a Gengar into a Tyranitar even if I saw Focus Punch though, just because I happen to have seen Crunch pursued Focus Punch a fair bit, so I would not feel too comfortable doing that switch turn one just to save myself 30 or 40% damage. But it's a move I've seen people make.
Mhm.
So yeah, but
That's really interesting. Like Zapdos against Tar always has, or most of the time will have, the initiative, because it always gets something out of it, no matter what.
there's basically way more to this turn than Tyranitar seeing Zapdos and clicking Focus Punch turn one. There is a lot more to that opening than that. But that is the move you will actually see like 95% of players do. Just okay, so I actually baton passed there to. Well, I suppose it's kind of obvious. I have a Doug if I'm staying in versus Tyranitar turn one. But what I was trying to do was, I was trying to either catch you on Crunch with Duck Trio or catch you going to Bliss with the Duck Trio. So
That's fair.
that would have been good for me, turn one. So what I can guess here, fairly with like a fair amount of certainty is, I mean, it's not that Tyranitar and Regis with the Skarmory can't possibly exist, but it is rare. So I would say, I actually would say this is Skarmory is very rare. That like I would be surprised to see it. It could, of course, very possibly be a thing, but I would be surprised to see it.
That's fine.
Alright, so I got some more info here. So this sort of archetype is very well balanced out, pretty basic, pretty easy to pilot. This is the sort of team I like because like it gives you a lot of room to inch around stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So here, so this is also a pretty this is like a fairly easy move to make.
Yeah, a couple things you can do. You could Thunderbolt me, you could BP, you could T-Wave, whatnot.
Yeah, so I was very tempted to just mash or Earthquake, but I wanted to be extra safe and just play around, like, because you showed me a Crunch Tar, and Crunch Lefty Star with Bulk is not really a thing on an offensive team that often. So I was just in case this was like a standard Tyranitar team with Regis over the Blissey, I doubled to account for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I lost like a little bit of free chip on the Metagross possibly, but that's fine. Like it's very early in the game still.
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel pretty safe to just play this out and see where this goes. So let's see. Okay.
Okay, cool. So...
This is fine. Oh yeah, by the way, what's your favorite tier? Like, it doesn't have to be in ADV, but just in
It
general.
definitely is not ADV. I have very much moved away from playing ADV in tournament. I do not enjoy playing it very much, even though I'm comfortably decent at it. But I would say nowadays I more prefer playing DPPOU. It's quick. It's maybe it's not like the most perfectly balanced tier, but after the Trio ban, it's pretty fun if not anything else.
How do you feel about Jirachi?
I've never minded it because I tend to play like teams that are very resilient, so I don't I'm not the kind of person to run up with a team that loses to Jirachi clicking Iron Head 5 times. So I would say, I would say that is one of the problems people have with DPP is definitely Jirachi clicking Iron Head.
Yeah, exactly.
But a lot of people kind of leave themselves open to it by bringing very frail teams. So
that's an interesting thing.
Yeah. This is alright. Let's see what I can get out of this.
That's a really slow meta.
Pretty bulky, yeah. I mean, also it's a Regis, so I'd say Regis being fast is not that surprising. Regis being faster is not that surprising because it tends to be like much more offensive than Metagross, especially with leftovers. This
oh wait,
like
no, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I was looking at it wrong. My bad.
Yeah, this is got an Earthquake off.
That was a good EQ. This is bad for me though.
So on this turn, like, it's pretty obvious. These sort of teams generally have like a Zapdos or a Mence or whatever to pivot on the EQ. So, but that's fine. I'm pretty okay versus all of those. So like, I don't really particularly fear the pivot. So I'm just good to EQ pretty much.
Yeah, this one's quite tough for me to switch into. And seeing as that you're faster than me, that definitely makes things even more difficult.
I enjoy using Metagross a lot. I'd say competitively, Metagross is another one of my favorites. Like it can swap tempo from CB Explosion turn 1 to Quicken Games, and it can also be very, very tough to break defensively. So it's definitely up there as one of my favorites. I'd say one issue with it is like if you go overly defensive, you stop being able to one-hit T-Tar. So that is one of my issues with totally defensive Metagross, which I don't enjoy using. But bulky offensive ones are good. Like Adamant with a lot of HP, special def, and regular def. I definitely favor those.
I haven't tried like fully defensive Metagross yet. I just don't feel comfortable
I
doing that yet because
I,
like
I've never liked Impish Metagross because one of the key failings it has is you miss out on the KO by Tyranitar by a lot. You miss out on it by say 15 or 20,
mm-hmm.
so it can make end games very awkward.
I see.
So,
Oh, that did kill. Dang.
right, so I'd say there's possibly a Doug behind this. That's like my first thought. Like Tyranitar, Regice, Metagross, so Celebi, Doug, that sort of team. When I saw you not pivoting to a Zapdos and tossing the Tyranitar, my first assumption is like you need to get the Metagross out of the way and don't really have a great pivot.
Well, you're spot on for that.
So you don't have a great pivot to this, so fine. So this is probably like some specially offensive sort of team. I could see the trio is probably there. I could see a Celebi there, I could see a Gengar in the back. So this is basically like your classic specially offensive team with a Metagross over the Jirachi, which is fair, which is not a bad thing at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't particularly need this. I don't particularly need this. So, okay. Yeah, offensive me is always difficult when you opt to run a what do you call it? When you opt into running a Blissey sort of team, pivoting around Starmie can become a massive pain.
Right.
It's definitely very strong. If it hits all of its hydros, it's definitely very annoying to inch around.
That's kind of why I like offensive me on teams like these, just because it has really good sweeping potential as well.
Yeah, it's always pretty enjoyable to see Starmie kind of shred stuff on the offensive side. It's really good.
Like, so, do you know about that SPL9 team that UD made? I actually have that team.
Is it the Tyranitar, Zapdos, Starmie?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, I know the team you're talking about. It's
the Ice Beam Tower.
Yeah, that one. That one's pretty good. It's pretty classic mixed offense. I would say I've kind of strayed away from using mixed offense, but it can definitely be pretty effective if played well.
Agreed.
But I've mostly strayed away from it, but it has its perks. So this turn's pretty interesting too.
I know one thing, you're not making this easy for me.
Yeah, this is... Alright. This one, get a free T-Bolt off. These teams have unparalleled flexibility. That's one of the biggest perks of using them.
Yeah, it's a strong team.
You cannot ask for more flexibility-wise. Get some free lefties off. So I'm actually pretty benefited by the Metagross being slower. That made this very safe, because I know you pivoting onto a mash basically gets you nothing. So that was fairly good for me.
Well,
mash off, get some free lefties. If you pivoted Starmie, I bet Mash, Earthquake, and Sand would have accounted for it. So that pivot got me pretty far ahead.
Yeah, it's looking very difficult for me right now. And I know you'll live this pump anyway and just boom if you want, or just go B anyway. So not a whole lot I can do besides just attack. So
yeah, this sort of position is pretty good. I would say the good thing is that Tyranitar is dead. The bad thing is, I wouldn't say Arrow is it would be an exaggeration to say Arrow is a fixture on this, but Arrow Dog is always something to consider. So I don't really feel too great about tossing it I don't feel too great about tossing the Metagross immediately. So I'm just looking to make this as safe as possible at this point.
That's fair.
So go get a leech off. That's kind of dicey clicking, kind of dicey Celebi versus offensive me, but what can you do? This is Yeah, yeah. This is always the dicey part. So the good thing is the hmm, the good thing is your Starmie.
Ah, well, there goes meta.
Yeah, and I was actually fine with getting. I was expecting a boom, honestly.
Ah,
So I was trying, and my duck trio was slower than Starmie, so I was like, it doesn't like really simplify the end game, and I kind of need the Celebi, so
that's
I
true.
toss it. I don't
Mhm.
really care. So that was a sack, but it happened to work out. I'm sure I could have done that a little bit. Yeah, I probably could have done it a little bit better, honestly. That's fine. That's just
Well, gotta try and take advantage of this then. Oh yeah, do you have any thoughts on Gen 8? Like, I don't know if you played it or not. Have you played Gen 8 at all?
I've played it. I feel like I could really get into it if I wanted to tier as a tier, but like,
Mhm.
I feel like it kind of proceeds a little bit too awkwardly for me to really get into it. It's not a
Interesting.
bad tier though. I
Hmm.
wouldn't say it's like a bad tier. So actually, here my decision to hold some meta HP paid off because like I was kind of uneager to. Your team is too grounded. Like it won't like there's no way it doesn't have like an arrow, a mens, a zap, or something. Like it's too grounded.
Right.
So that was one thing I was accounting for. So I guess getting my duck trio killed would have worked in that sense too. Like it would have given you one less thing to abuse with. It would have given you like one less mon to abuse once I get locked into EQ. So
Right.
I'm still fine though. So, get my
Oh, well.
intimidate off. Yeah, get the intimidate off.
So we pretty much have the same team, except yours is better.
Yeah, my mine is not to put too great of a point on it, but yeah, mine is probably better. Mine is a little bit more flexible than yours. So I'd like a lot of this game was made easier for me just because I had bad pass to make pivoting very mindless for me in a lot of situations. So okay,
Right.
that's good. Got some damage on the Starmie. I know my duck trio is totally fucking useless, so I guess I already know what I'm just gonna. I guess I know what I'm gonna toss here.
Right.
Go to Zapdos, get a Thunderbolt off. So
Hmm.
that move of sacking the trio is fine because even if you double tier Salamence, I just go back to my own Salamence and I get free damage on Starmie or whatever again. So I was pretty fine even if you doubled reading a sack. I wasn't too worried. So I get a Thunderbolt here as you.
We buy
Well, I
so
can't
many
imagine
different
you
things
have like a
online. So
Snorlax after
why not
Regice.
tires? Visit
Unfortunately,
TireRack.com/bridgestone
no.
to shop the full line of
Yeah,
Bridgestone tires.
I would
Solutions for
also
your
not
journey.
imagine this team to
TireRack.com.
exist
The way
without a
tire
Doug
buying should be.
because it just looks like Blissey would never die, barring the opponent having a stroke of some kind. So I would say there's probably a Duck trio in the back. Like I'm not 100% sure, but it's pretty likely. So, but I also don't really care about Thunderbolting to the Duck trio because I'm fairly far ahead.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you don't have to make any kind of risky play for real.
I
Like,
don't. Yeah, I really do not have to take any undue risk here. I can just. If you make the pivot, you make the pivot, and I just don't really care about it. I just need to keep my Salamence around to
hmm.
intimidate yours. That sort of team's always been interesting to me, but I've never felt too confident playing it because they don't have the flexibility I enjoy.
Hmm.
They feel very dependent on getting like single booms off to trap stuff with Duck Trio. And if that single boom doesn't land because your opponent had something else they could throw at Regice early, then you're basically never killing Blissey ever. So that's probably one of the major failings of that sort of team. But they're fun. They're fun at least.
I
No
mean,
harm,
there's
no
also
foul.
another way that can handle Blissey though. Like, maybe an offensive calm mind sweeper in the back is possible.
Uh, I'd say Jirachi is. I'd say out of the calm minders, Jirachi is the one that is the most likely to get past Blissey if it's non-T-Wave. Celebi can kind of do it because of Giga Drain. It can get past Wish. So Jirachi can get past all variants of Blissey if it's Super Jirachi except T-Wave. So Jirachi wouldn't really fit there. It would be like over the Metagross if anything. So Jirachi could do it, yeah. I'd say offensive Suicune probably does not get past Blissey more often than not. Especially if it's toxic, like you're kind of unlikely to get past it.
Even if it's the Crocune variant, you know,
Crocune is probably Crocune is probably getting past. Crocune will get past Blissey.
Right.
It'll get past. Yeah, it's just vanilla, Hydro, whatever. That probably what I remember. Calm Mind Toxic being somewhat of a thing. So Calm Mind Toxic can help versus Blissey, but you still need to nail some pivots properly, and they still have room to play around it. So it's not an exact science.
Yeah, I see. Well, we're gonna end.
Crocune definitely does it. Yeah.
Okay, I see. Well, let's just see what happens here. All right, goodbye.
Luckily, I didn't get frozen. And so one thing you want to do is you want to retain flexibility. Like you don't want to be like overly committed to the idea that your opponent has something as their last. So I'm trying to not I know structure-wise that is probably a Duck Trio, but I don't want to play as if I know it's a Duck Trio necessarily.
Right.
I should give myself some extra room in the end game just in case. So I feel like I can definitely. I'm ahead to the point where I don't really have to 100% assume anything. I can mix up my assumptions and give myself room to be good versus whatever the last is. But yeah, these games are safe move. I'm just gonna throw you out. Go to Mens. Get a -1. Rock Slide.
Well, it actually does come down to this. Let's see. Come on, Ments. Oh, you failed me, Ments.
Right, so get another Rock Slide off. Well, this did live +1, so it was Jirachi.
Yeah.
Well, I did have Metagross with Earthquake, and my Celebi lives a +1 hit from the Mens, so I just needed to what do you call it? I needed to get a Rock Slide off and then click Psychic with the Celebi, and then Metagross hopefully could close it out. It's probably just Super Jirachi, so I kind of.
Oh, it's Fire Blast Rock Slide. That's cool. So this is the mixed variant.
So it's a lot of So this is a lot of bulk on the Jirachi, so it's probably 252 HP is my. Well, it doesn't have to be after. I should probably be calculating that. Yeah, that was my guess too, that it'd probably be sub CM if anything. So.
Okay.
Get a few EQs off.
Come on, Rachi.
You should probably be just spamming Ice Punch at this point. Spamming Ice Punch and wasting time to try to inch out of Starmie range would have been what I've done. I mean, it's all marginal anyway.
Yeah, GG's.
I have some other stuff if you still want to play, but...
I'm still down. I still have questions. We haven't even gone through them yet.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's like a 26-year-old dude on a Friday night with nothing else to do during lockdown, so ask whatever the hell you want. I'm good for it. So,
at least be a little bit more optimistic about it.
Yeah, it's like there's nothing to do. I got up work really late, so I'm basically free all day until. Oh damn! Wow, time really flies. It's 1:12. But luckily tomorrow's Saturday, so I definitely have at least an hour more in me.
Great.
So,
got more questions then.
Yeah, sure, shoot.
All right.
Whatever hits you.
All right. I know we were talking about Gen 8 briefly. You said that you'd be willing to try it out, though, right? Like, if you wanted to actually.
Played it.
Mhm.
I've actually played a little bit of it. I feel like my main issue with it stems from games just putting me to sleep. But I feel like if I really wanted to play it, I probably could.
Mhm.
I just need. I kind of dislike having to ask people for teams, but I imagine I could probably ask as many people as I wanted for teams, and I'd probably get some in return, and
Yeah.
I could probably mess around with them. But yeah, like, I feel like I really want to get better at 1 to 5 for now, so
Mhm.
that's where most of my time and effort goes into at the
That makes
moment.
sense. Well,
So, but it's definitely I feel like my main issue with it stems from like when I watch games in SS, it feels like half the games like they're one off of people stay in versus teleport or U-turn.
mhm.
That's like 90% of the games I see, and it's like, or I watch Kurum just getting a 6-0 at matchup, or other interesting things like that. So I wasn't too. I've actually watched some of the SCL games.
Mhm.
All I can say is please bring back Old World Cup. Like I'm starting to get sick of seeing Kurum on loop. Starting to get really bored of it, but
You know,
that's fun.
Mhm. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure Kurum just got suspected too, so I wouldn't be so sure that it stayed for much longer.
Well, it's okay, it's interesting, right? It's interesting about Gen 8. Like, I've also come to the conclusion, like, I don't really enjoy it compared to, like, you know, the other players that like the meta. I'm okay with it, but I'm not, like, you know, super excited about Gen 8. Like, I think the meta has, you know, potential to improve and be even better. Like right now, where the meta game is right now, I'd say it's a lot better than when it first started. There's a lot more creativity.
Definitely, it's definitely much better. Like I remember, like I saw like that fish thing, the super strong choice banded Dracovish or whatever.
Yeah,
I
Dracovish.
remember watching it just click buttons, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm out. I just instantly stopped taking it seriously when I saw Dracovish shave off half of a Toxapex's health. Like, that is not something I want to be playing.
You want to know how much it does in the rain? It kills in the rain.
I'm pretty sure I was gonna say that. I was pretty sure it killed in rain.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 90% sure. So I'm from Asia, so I'm like on. I was on Asia's World Cup with the Asia's World Cup chat again as usual, and I saw every single team would boil down to Seismitoad, Clefable, Corviknight, Rotom H with boots.
Yep.
Powdon,
Yep.
Scar. It was just the same 10 things on loop a year ago. It was not particularly exciting to me. So even this even this matchup is pretty interesting. Men's Zap. So I'd say like something I do that a lot of players don't is turn 1 I tend to double to Tyranitar to throw up sand and get advantaged versus Celebi and Blissey that tend to come out versus Zapdos turn 1. And it also lets me high Baton Pass. So that's one move obviously the downside to this is you would only do that if you didn't have a Duck Trio. If you had a Duck Trio, you would just raw Baton Pass there in all likelihood.
Right. But also like in this matchup with Ments versus Zap, like I wouldn't say you're really in the best position either because you know, like you could slide and you could try and take.
I would say like one reason why Zapdos is always favored here is like even if both are 252, which is like this is very much the worst case. Like, Men's has to win a coin flip for starters potentially.
Yeah. And
it'd have to get a 50-50 roll. So you are basically risking something for like a 25% outcome. It could work. I mean, clicking Scald works 30% of the time, but yeah, that is not my idea. Like, I don't really enjoy clicking Rock Slide their turn 1, but knowing that ice has died down a lot
Yeah.
makes it an option, because rock slide is like potentially an option. It's very weird and awkward because um, losing Salamence is kind of bad, but
Mm-hmm.
meeting Duck Trio as you go to Blissey and losing it to beat up turn 2 is not exactly the best thing either. So
Nope.
this turn is interesting. So there's also mid-ground moves that are made a lot. That's why this turn people actually mid-ground a lot. Like just go to a Swampert or something, so you kind of ease things, which is why sub Zapdos is very good. So you'd abuse even the mid-ground move made here.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of like stuff to note about this matchup. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So turn 1. Yeah, turn 1 is very risky because like I'm always tempted to click Rock Slide, honestly, because most of the people just bad and pass out thinking you're gonna switch, which is fairly reasonable. So
Mm-hmm.
you can try to get the jump on them with Rock Slide if your Mence is like
If it's
252
adamant, of
speed, I
course.
guess.
Mm-hmm.
If it's 252, but like faster zap is a thing which is just going to bad and pass. So like it can like go wrong or be foiled in a lot of ways.
Exactly.
And if I stay into Rock Slide, I kind of telegraph that this is probably Choice Band turn 1. So yeah, there's like I've seen it work. Like if you win a speed tie, you flinch and you get or you get the roll. So there are some ways it can go your way.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, you should probably not be doing that on a regular basis. You should probably have something like more smart or fluid in mind turn 1. I mean, it's a move. It's like a move that's available to you. It's just not a particularly great move overall. So yeah, I hate making this move because I use sub zap a lot to abuse this exact situation.
Mm.
So this move is So that at least I know one thing. This is probably not a substitute Zapdos. So I got some info out of it at the very least. I'm fairly comfortable doing that usually because I tend to run a lot of special bulk on Swampert because I dislike the whole Zapdos versus Skarmory, Zapdos button passing into Blissey. That whole deal is very old. So
I see. Yeah, that was a smart play. I got a little bit
Yeah.
too greedy with my play. I should have just attacked you.
Attacking's fine. I just see it as a trade. If you attack, tough luck. But I just wanted toxic. I wanted to timer it. So I was fine as long as this thing was on a timer. So okay, so we got a Skarm. 4, 2.
Yeah, I knew there was a mag there. I don't know why, but I had a feeling there was a mag.
Yeah, men's Spirit Mag is pretty classic. Yeah, unless you have a Doug, there's not really. If you have a Doug or a Fire or your own Mag, there's definitely a point in roaring there to phase and get a feel for if Mag's there.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess Protect was actually not the best move there, honestly, because it was pretty passive and gave Skarmory a free turn to enter, possibly. And the flip side was if I clicked Surf, if I had clicked Surf, you would have been in mag range, but it would have also telegraphed that I had a mag.
Right, of course.
So that is, yeah, it's pretty interesting as well. So on this turn, I would say.
Well, I can't really do a whole lot because
This turn's
you don't...
interesting
Mhm.
because like you will never protect here because there's a Magneton behind.
Exactly.
So
I can't...
you can
like-
either spike as I go mag and cash out for 2, or you can double switch on my mag, or you can roar. So or you can like just sack this off to the card. There's like a few different ways it can play out. But like my thing is like, I brought a Magneton, so I don't want to let you I don't want to like play too weird and let you potentially get 3 up. You won't get 3 up in all likelihood. Either you get 1 and you double to keep the Skarmory sack, or you get 2. But in all likelihood, you won't get 3 without something silly happening. Probably, I mean,
Yeah.
it could happen.
like a roar
Stranger
or
things
something.
happen. Yeah. I'd say.
Well, what I have in mind, I'm pretty sure I can get away with just one spike. If I want to, of course.
One
And I don't know
spike
if you have a
is, like,
spinner here. Mm-hmm.
I never like play too aggressive for 2 spikes. You play aggressive for 1 spike or 3 spikes, but the second spike is like whatever. It's like all it does is negate protect. That's the only real purpose for it. It's pretty bad. The 4% jump is not worth losing a sack usually.
Yeah, that might be the case. And also I get to see what kind of tar you are anyway, so I think this is safe for me. Okay.
I was very tempted to double to my own Skyrim there, but couldn't quite pull the trigger because, again, I was nervous about you say spiking as I go Skarm, thinking you're okay with 2 spikes, and then I'd lose. I'd like be facing 3 layers, so I didn't want to potentially face 3 layers. Okay, I definitely got benefited with that miss. So, yeah, these sort of teams generally struggle a lot versus Swampert, to switch in versus Swampert.
Right.
So this is, yeah, having Skarmory as your best Swampert switch in is not the greatest.
Definitely not.
It's manageable potentially.
Well, this is a tough spot for me. I could pump, but you get a spike down where you toxic me. Or I go Skarm and then you just go Mag afterwards. So I don't really get much out of this.
I'd say like the first turn, it's like from my end, it's fairly telegraphed that I'm gonna spike.
Yeah.
No
exactly.
matter what, I spike here. I'm not. It's yeah. This is actually a good move. So you actually get like an extra round of lefties, which might help you live one random move in the versus Swampert or something. So that's not a bad move. So I'd say one of the benefits of this situation we're in is that you know that I'm always in the mindset of needing to not have all 3 down. That's one of the issues here.
Right. Let's do it anyway. Oh yeah, I also want to know, like, you know, what's your mindset on tours? Like, I like to know that.
So I'm like a 26-year-old dude, which is why I stepped away from them. But if I were to play them more often, I actually don't know because I was never like, I'm not like a super successful tour player or anything, so I won't like pretend to know what makes someone a good tour player or not. But I definitely think you need to be in the right mindset when you're playing tours. Like you need to like not get tilted by small things if you're looking to play seriously. Yeah, I would have roared there for sure. Like on the Skarmory Skarm turn, that is like super free roar because I'm in the mindset of wanting to mag on that turn. So yeah.
No, you're right. I got too greedy with the spike, and I don't know if you have a spinner here. It doesn't seem like you have one though.
Probably don't have one. Yeah, on this team it'll probably not have it. Okay, so here.
That
Cool.
That kind of sucks.
Good. That is good for me. Alright. Got a pair on this. Got a top. Yeah, I'm never. Now that Skarm is dead, this is just. This and anything this does is like a total bonus for me. That's good. I'm actually honestly just kind of fishing for a full para, if I'm honest. That's. I figure I definitely can do this.
Alright.
Yeah, that's the problem with Shirachi as a special wall. It is very prone to these shenanigans of getting owned by FPs.
Well,
it's probably why I'm definitely a Blissey person as a special Blissey, or because Celebi kind of sucks as a special wall, like pretty prone to getting Ice Beam frozen and stuff like that. Plus Blissey is the de facto. Either Blissey or I use random special bulk to help me versus special stealth. I don't like using Jirachi as your sole special defense one. if you have a Blissey alongside, it's actually pretty good, but not alone.
I see. I guess it would be like a heal belt Blissey to help it out.
Bella's good, or you'd use I could see, yeah, Aroma Blissey is good with it, or you could use what do you call it? You could. I always use I use Pursuit with it a lot because I guess when you have the Blissey alongside Pursuit is a little bit less necessary with it, but it helps because Taunt Wild Guard makes its life a bulky team's life very awkward.
Right.
So okay, cool. Got some mileage out of the Magneton when I really shouldn't have. Right. Got some mileage. Got to keep a sack. Thing is, the Swampert is still pretty awkward for me, but hopefully I'm ahead enough. See, Swampert is very awkward when Blissey is your last on this. Swampert is very awkward to pivot versus.
This is a tough one. I guess the best I can do is this.
So I know you have a tar in the back, but like I don't really care at this point. I will probably go to Blissey once fairly safely. It's kind of paranoid of like knock is rare, but wanted to be paranoid of it if I could. On that turn, you probably fire punched because you don't want to lose the Zam for nothing. So I can still handle you if you're Calm Mind. If you're Calm Mind recover, I have Tyranitar. If you're Calm Mind 3 attacks, my Blissey should be able to take it on. So I'm actually gonna double that. Yeah, okay, cool. I did that just like to be sure if you're knock or not. So
I see. That was smart.
So on this turn, so I get to keep my Blissey now. I lost an item on Mag, which is kind of irrelevant. I'll just go to Tyranitar. Yep, go to Tyranitar. Earthquake covers everything that's in, so I'll just Earthquake here. So having the sack in hand is really big here. The Magneton being totally free to use here because it got lucky versus the Jirachi, and I have a Spike sack. So yeah, the problem with this sort of team is you need to figure out how you're pressuring Pert. It's kind of hard when CB Mens is your only real physical, and CB Mens, there's so many other resists to this too. There's Tyranitar, there's Zapdos, Jirachi, like I'm not guaranteed that I'm gonna land HP Fly into Pert necessarily. So this sort of team can, I know a lot of people really enjoy using this sort of team, but I've always found using them to be very awkward. And not really my cup of tea, but they're good, I guess, to a certain degree. So yeah, so my plan here is just look to get damage into the Pert over and over again.
Right, that makes sense. You want to weaken Pert for the Ments, so
yeah. Just weaken it as much as possible, hopefully without having to use my own Pert versus your Pert.
I see.
And if I avoid using my Pert versus yours, that means my own Pert is more healthy for the tar behind us. So that's the approach that I'm looking at this endgame with. Because knock stuff without sand is fairly rare. So yeah, so that's the kind of my approach for now. It's like take advantage of the bit of luck that I got. Okay, so one thing is pretty good for me here. I learned that this is a fairly bulky Swampert. This is a fairly frail Swampert because my Earthquake probably does not do that much to something if it had like a fair bit of bulk. I need Blissey for Zapdos and Zam, so I can't trade hits with your. I can't trade hits with my Blissey versus the Swampert. Actually like a lot of people don't like doing this sort of stuff, but I'm always down to stay versus the Pert and just trade if I see it as being the move, and I kind of see it as being the move to some degree, depending on whether offensive Swampert Hydro one hits or not from this range. what I'm calculating right now actually. Oh, so it's actually like a 50-50 roll. So if I was like, if I was in more of a dire situation, I would probably go for the 40-60 and see if I got it, but I'm not in that bad of a spot, so I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
So,
Well, this is all I'm gonna
damage.
do here.
So I actually don't want to give you too much free damage on the Skarmory, if possible. Oh, that's fine, I guess I can do it once. Alright, did it once, get some drill pecks off, get you into... I guess arguably the move was to throw my Magneton. That was arguably the better move, but that's fine. Getting some drill pecks off is still not bad. Roar, okay. Actually want to be really safe. Possible. Okay, yeah, that was a good move. So there, actually, I made that move to inch around a possible focus punches. Probably not there on that Swampert, in fairness, but like I felt like I could afford inching around it if possible. So I inched around it to the best of my ability. So you're actually pretty far behind, so I can see a move like a raw HP grass into the Swampert off a mixed DD tart to try to swing it back in your favor. So I'm gonna...
Yeah, I think the best thing I can do is just be aggressive at this point. I'm so far behind.
At this point, yeah, you gotta be aggressive when you can. So I actually can't spike up ×3 because I could spike as you DD, spike as you rock slide, flinch, roar to sack this off. Then go to my Pert and Hydro as you attack. But that is... I feel like Mag has kind of... This is the spot. This is the spot to do it, yeah. So, okay.
Yeah.
So, let's say... With the Zapdos Toxic, I don't really care. Even if you pivot Zapdos, like, it's whatever. You pivoted a Zapdos, good job. It's already toxic, so fine. If you make a pivot and get it right, I don't really care. But Big Break to cover whatever is... I guess the best move here technically was go to your Swampert and click... I was go to my Swampert and click Surf, but like I'm pretty paranoid. I guess clicking Surf was the best move. I probably should have done that. Alright, so I probably actually messed up by... Because the moment you showed me Focus Punch, I guess Focus Punch Grass is not the rarest thing ever, but it'd be on more of an offensive team. Probably not with spikes. It'd be on like maybe a mixed offense team. You could see Focus Punch Grass or a CM Task maybe. But on that, it's probably DDF Punch or regular physical type. So yeah, I definitely messed up with the men's switch. It's still fine.
Yeah, I mean, you had the free mag sack, so you always got mints in safely. So
yeah, so it was like what I would do in retrospect is mag sack, interpret. That's fine here, but this is also fine if you want to be like super safe versus HP grass. This is a fine move.
Right. Well,
I can afford this for sure.
That toxic really messed up my Zapdos.
That's the sort of move I was comfortable doing because the Blissey has Wish, and I have a Magneton for Skarmory. So I felt like that's the sort of move that I'm able to do early on without it necessarily losing me the game totally.
Right.
Because I have enough bulk that your Zapdos, if it was modest max HP grass, you probably did like 78 tops because I had like a lot of special def just for that sort of situation, so I can throw a toxic out early.
Right, that does make sense, especially paired with this kind of squad. Man, you're very calculated.
Yeah, so here
it does a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
So here, so one thing is good if you recover. then it means I get. So from here, the move that's very clear for me to make is actually just going to my tar, because if you recover, I get a free tar. If you double to Swampert, I'm still good after. I'm still That means you lose one, switch into Brick Break. So that sort of pivot is fine for me. I could also so it's basically like kind of a race against the Swampert, because like I could see the Swampert like potentially getting very stupid. If the game ends up in some Swampert versus Swampert situation, this can backfire very easily. So I know you're not Ice Punch in all likelihood. Like that sort of set makes no sense. So I could see 3 attacks knockoff. I could see recover knockoff. I could see. I don't see like 3 attacks knockoff as a thing. So I guess this is fairly safe. And again, it's the same logic applies of me having a free Earthquake here. So actually there's a spike down, so I guess the Earthquake is free, but it would potentially give you Zapdos, and if you pivoted Zapdos on Earthquake and Pert on Height and Pert on Rock Slide, you would steal a pivot that way where you normally wouldn't be able to. And I wonder if there's a way for me to account for that, actually. So
Well,
like,
I know
guess
I'm
it's
in a
fine,
pretty
but-
bad spot. I know there's not much I can do. All I can do is potentially go Pert or go Zap on your EQ. That's it.
Yeah, that's kind of it. So there's like 2. The thing is, even if you get the pivot, it's like whatever to me, because your Zap is timered
Yeah.
via Toxic, and I have Blissey, so I'm just probably just gonna go Blissey. If I'm honest, probably just gonna toss my Blissey out on the Zapdos if you end up going to it. And I guess the risk there is.
Well.
Yeah, this sort of game is all about like inching around stuff.
Yeah, there was nothing I could have done without Zapdos getting poisoned. So it's game, bro. You already won.
Go to primary, toss primary out. Yeah, good. Alright, that's fine. That's totally fine. Go here. Good. I'll actually get a big break off. Yeah, the big break off.
I didn't think I lived that. I'm not even gonna cap.
Turn. Top boiled right here.
I didn't do very much.
I actually should have flied there, probably, but I was like paranoid of something. Yeah, I got very paranoid in this endgame, so that's why I don't like using CB Mens very often, because like it feels like it just doesn't really suit me. I don't feel too great using it. But...
No, I feel the same about that Mon too. Like that Mon, it's really weird, you know. It's really weird on some teams.
It's good though, yeah. It just doesn't suit me that much, so I should have flied there in retrospect. I could have inched around your Tyranitar for sure, because I feel like by this point it's not HP grass, so I definitely could have pivoted. Definitely could have inched around it. So yeah, I definitely flubbed a few times. So that's fine. So here. I'm actually kind of forced to go to Pert, even though I know Swampert doubling is an option. I kind of have to go to my Pert here, which is unfortunate. Yeah, that's the problem with Spadef Pert.
Yeah, it doesn't
take 30
very well.
Check that well. So okay, that's fine. So I couldn't even stay in and like Seismic Toss versus Earthquake because I was too chipped.
Right.
Later, so go here. So the great thing is, so it's actually kind of interesting. Like if I Blissey and you Tyranitar, and I sack my Tyranitar, then go to my Swampert, I get a Surf. Yeah,
Well, you
it's
know you
about
need the
basic.
perk. Like, you need the perk for you to win.
Yeah, it's basically like what I'm trying to figure out is like if I go to Bliss, how abusable is it? Like if I go to Bliss and you go Tar and you kill my Tyranitar sack, and I go to my Tyranitar, I go to my Swampert, so I get an attack there. If you sack your Tyranitar, then my Blissey instantly wins. If you sack your Zapdos, then I'd have to take a hit versus your Swampert. And then, but your Swampert is at 21, so it'd be in Torrent. I'd actually like be eating a Torrent Hydro. And then I'd have to figure out whether Swampert can eat a Torrent Hydro plus, what do you call it? Torrent Hydro plus Earthquake. So this sort of endgame is pretty delicate. I mean, I guess it should. Like, it should tank. Because Swampert is actually one of those mons that kind of tanks like all sorts of random shit that you wouldn't expect it to.
Yeah, that mon is just good at that. It's team player.
It's like it's great at. I love using Swampert. It's so good at that. Like you can trade any hits with it, which it really shouldn't, and it will get away with it. Yeah, so I actually die to Torrent Hydro, so I can't afford to do that.
Alright, that worked out for me.
Alright, that's cool. I'm basically very nervous about the tech being abused. Tech being abused because I'm basically nervous of pert doubles because pert on tech or pert on a tar switch are both very tough for me. So I'm trying to avoid finding that matchup as much as I can in this endgame.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me too. If I go for grass, then I take too much poison damage, then you can bring Blissey in on the HP grass if you want to. So like, I'm not in the best spot either. You just take your recovery back.
Yeah, this sort of endgame is super delicate. They're super interesting to play out. 9%. So the Swampert, see, that's the issue with not having gotten some more spikes. So the Swampert actually can take a lot of spikes still. So 12, it can take like 3 more layers basically, considering lefties.
Right.
So it's actually kind of a headache to deal with. And the Tyranitar has next is like not chipped to the point where Tyranitar Earthquake can kill it. So I basically need the Pert 100%.
Alright.
Alright,
that didn't work
okay,
out.
Cool. Okay, cool. Got the move. And now...
Oh, come on, man. Come on.
Also Wish Up. And yeah, this is why Wish Pussy is so good.
Oh, man, that's so sad.
Yeah, so this basically undoes everything at this point. Now I just tapped. You do whatever, I really don't care. Yeah, I basically have to say, oh, cool, alright.
GG's.
I actually didn't expect that to be faster, alright. So now I win, now close it out. I basically made this tough by playing a little bit too safe with a team I'm not super fond of, but
yeah.
So let me see what else I got. Yeah.
Yep, that's that. Nothing I could have done, honestly.
So you kind of just got constricted by the wish kind of made. Yeah, the wish kind of super changed how the ending played out.
Yeah.
I think maybe.
Like, okay.
Yeah, the ending is super awkward. Like I can't say that there's like 100% end game. The ending was super awkward.
Yeah. It was.
Let's see else.
Now again, there were 2 big things I messed up here. Definitely letting Zapdos get poisoned, and also Mag, destroying my Rachi. That definitely kind of messed things up.
Yeah, getting the extra. I'd say I even lucked out with the Hydro dodge, but that evened out with the Hydro crit. So I guess it didn't really hurt you in retrospect. Like if
Nah,
I got all three up, if I got all three up, I would have gotten way too much out of the Scarm.
definitely.
But yeah, so this is not my kind of team. I actually think I have never used a choice band Salamence in a tour game ever. I have never used it. I have very rarely used. I almost never. I don't use mag partners very often because I don't use mag. So to no one's surprise, I am not a fan. Yeah.
Mag is kind of
but it's
iffy for me. Like, it's not a mon I typically use that much either. Like,
it can work, obviously. I mean, yeah, like it just depends on you as a player, and it's just not my thing because Swampert clicking Hydro 10 times is not my idea of a fun game. So I don't feel too great using them.
I see.
Like with this sort of team, like actually what I should have been doing is using the Ments as a pivot to Hydro occasionally to get free HP flyings on your team after I killed the Skarm and the Jirachi. Like that's nuance that eludes me.
I don't know about that one though. Like, I mean, I guess you could have let Ments take chip from Pump, but like
that's fair.
I don't know. I'm just thinking about. I think it was Vapokuno that said something about choice band Ments that you shouldn't use it defensively or something like that.
Oh yeah, I kind of just use it to launch attacks where possible. Like get it in off. If you get it in off a double, that's actually a super good spot.
Yeah.
I feel like the issue with it is like I just hate stuff that dies to sand, and it kind of dies to sand. Dies to sand, like. Pursuit timers you. There's like a lot of things I don't like about it, but it's good on some teams, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a strong one.
Yeah.
I'm actually more of a probably more of a mixed or a DD Ment sort of person. I guess more mixed is what I'd say I use. I tend to use. I really. Oh yeah, go ahead. Like, I was just
go
gonna
ahead.
say,
Go
I
ahead.
really,
Go. You're the guest.
I really enjoy having access to 4 moves at one go.
Right.
With mixed Ments. Yeah, he's pretty good that way.
All right.
Do you tend to use DD more or?
I'm more of a DD Ments guy. I guess I'd be part of the DD Ments like religion or whatever they call it in the ADV community.
Yeah, I used to be pretty low on Dragon Dance Salamence, but recently I've seen it do some work, so I'm a little bit more positive about it.
Oh, actually, speaking of DD Ments, did you see the recent Callus game with what's his name, with Mikmir and
Zama? That Salamence was ridiculous.
No, like when he was faking out Zalmog with the Ments, I was just like, yo, what?
That was the stupidest Ments I've ever seen. Like, if your Salamence cannot... I mean, I use slow DD Tar a lot, but it's a DD Tar, so it's different. Its defensive profile is different from a Ments, and you hardly need any EVs to outspeed Arrow at +1, so like I just cannot imagine myself using that.
Yeah.
Props to him, I guess, for winning with a good job, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it looked very, very weird to me. Like a traditional Ments would have just cleaned out the team at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's cool he won. It's cool he won, but like the way it went down was just so odd.
Yeah, watching +1 Salamence switch out of Aerodactyl is something I hope I never end up doing, because I actually like Special Def DD Ments a lot. I've used it a ton. I use Bulk for Gar Ice Punch a fair bit, but there's even sets that have more bulk. I can get behind that, but you need to have speed for Arrow. Like, yeah, for Arrow. Offense is already kind of bad versus Arrow, so like after I waste a turn clicking Dragon Dance, I don't want it forcing me out.
So then, okay, so then how much like speed would that mince have to have? Like, it'd have to be like 240 at least, right? Like 240, 230, somewhere around there.
What was that? Do you mean DD Mens?
Yeah, for that DD mince, the one that McMir was using, because that's a really slow mince.
Must have been like, I don't know, just fast enough to like outspeed
Maybe Starmie? Should be
Dog
fast
or
enough for Starmie at
Starmie.
least.
I mean, that's what I do. Like, I just outspeed Starmie. Like, no one is. I guess to be complete for completion's sake, like my inner completionist wouldn't let me not be faster than a Jolly Doug. But I guess no sane person is throwing Doug at your DD Mens, but like, I'd rather not let them have that option in an end game for no reason if I can avoid it.
I see, yeah.
But that's too slow, man. That's like, I wouldn't use it. It's cool that something funny won a game, but I probably wouldn't use it. I just didn't like his team, honestly, but it looked creative, so props, I guess. It looked very cool, very interesting, but not my sort of team.
Alright, so this is the last one. You down? You ready?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
even this matchup's pretty interesting. So like everything from Focus Punch turn 1 to Fire Blast turn 1. Everything but so anti-Scarm moves are very possible and pretty decent here, honestly. Earthquake is fine if you have a Magneton behind, but I don't really like clicking Earthquake turn 1. Just my preference. Clicking Fire Blast is very aggro, but it is most definitely a viable move.
Right, for catching Scarm and such.
Yeah, catching Scarm doubling. Scarm double on this turn, or Scarm 4A double is very common from both sides. So anything that accounts for that is a viable move to some extent in my book.
Right.
Anything except something stupid like switching your mag here. Switching your mag here is okay. I amend that. Switching into your mag here is stupid. That is just bad. Like, because all of the options that you can do here punish the either one hit the mag or put it in range of a spike. Like, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. That would just be bad.
That would be bad for sure. I guess Pert Pivot is like the super safe option is the Pert Pivot, but I don't do that because it's so abusable with the double, just Skarmory on this turn, that I tend not to do it. Well, obviously it matters less if you're backed by like a spinner or backed by mag. You can lessen the impact of the Skarmory switch here. So even the move you click turn 1 kind of is an indicator as to what you're facing to some degree.
Agreed.
Okay, that's fine. So
alright,
my Fire Blast rolled pretty high. So I got some info here. That's it.
Oh, okay, that's fine. That miss sucks though.
Yeah, like you would have gotten some free damage on this, but okay, what that told. So one thing a lot of people don't realize is like every single turn gives you a lot of info. A lot of people would have just been like, the Tyranitar did 28 versus the Flygon, so I'm not gonna invest any more thought into it, but that single turn tells me a lot. If I take the 2 seconds it takes to toss this into a calc. So now I learned that your Flygon has no bulk, probably. I also learned that you actually took more damage than you would from... I learned that you're minus Spadef, basically. Which makes sense. You're a Fire Blast Flygon. You're probably minus Spadef. And you didn't Skarm there. So I can guess that you probably don't have a Skarmory, but even if you do, I have a spinner, so I can at least try and outplay the Spikes game. So I can shift. Okay, so even this actually tells me something too. So this is one great thing about Starmie, like it just forces switches into very telegraphed style. Like there are only a few things that can really confidently switch into it, which is one thing I really enjoy. So that's pretty cool team. I'm guessing like if I had to like take a blind guess, I would say it's something like Tyranitar, Flygon, Celebi, Metagross, Zapdos. Like it's an offensive team of some kind basically. So that would be my first guess.
Okay. That was a really good switch. Now what do I do?
Yeah, so it's like I understood it was offbeat from the surf roll. So I did this to cut off your CM turn and get some tempo back off this turn, hopefully.
Jeez. Alright.
Yep. So one other thing I know is, so that's offensive Celebi of some sort. Flygon, Tyranitar, Celebi, Milotic. There's possible.
There is a rap competition
The
going
Celebi
on
is a
my
bit
Instagram
too offensive
today and
for a
this
mag
weekend.
team, but
You
structure-wise,
can win
there's
free
possibly a
unlimited
mag.
lease, and
So
it's a lot
that's
of fun.
okay. So
check
that's
out
a
my Instagram link.
Hypnosis.
It's in the description and in the first
Milotic.
comment.
So
And I hope that you guys enjoy.
I guess it's less. There's probably no mag now. So that didn't work out too well, but I got some info from it, so all good. So I know this is offensive Celebi. Let's go to this. So one good thing is I know there's no Duck Trio, so at least I know my Celebi is pretty brainless to use this game, which is good. Okay. So the thing is, the great thing about Starmie and Celebi here is that it kind of kills the Milotic. It makes the Milotic like a complete non-issue, which is great.
Yeah, these two are definitely going to be a problem for me, but...
Yeah. This sort of team, I actually like that sort of team. It looks like UD's. It looks very similar to that one UD team from SPL 9. Except, like, I think we can get an offensive Starmie on it or something over the offensive Milotic. It was something similar-ish to that. So, it might have had a Weezing too, but don't quote me on it because it's been a while.
I'm gonna have to look at that team then. I'm actually kind of curious now.
It's like a Tyranitar, there's a Zapdos, there's a Weezing, there's a Flygon, there's Metagross, and I can't remember the last offhand. But it was definitely pretty cool. I liked it. Alright, cool. I got something good off that turn.
And I'm just here.
Yeah, I definitely got something cool off that turn. No lie. So let me see what I can do. So this Milotic is actually annoying because, like, my Celebi is abusable by your Celebi. My Starmie kind of does nothing. So, like, I can get awkwardly positioned here, potentially. So, that's one issue in this sort of game. And I can't blow up the Metagross either without knowing what your last is. So,
yeah. That's not good. That is no bueno.
okay, that is very good for me. So, like, that gets me massively ahead. So the thing is, like, just because I got a mash race doesn't necessarily mean I can get totally clicky and just stay in. But the thing is, like, if I just go to my Starmie and take a Hydra or whatever, recover up, go to yourself, like, I'm very timed. Like, eventually you'll start catching on to my Aerodactyl switches and stuff, and, like, I won't have this much room later on in the game. So I probably got some luck, and I should probably see.
Jeez.
Yeah, the offensive Milo is pretty strong, and taking the damage was not great. let me see what I can do with it. Yeah, that wasn't my brightest move. Okay.
I mean, you got damage on me, so that opens up arrow and for tar. Well, I have to have a dead Milotic and try and recover with it somehow. So
it's not the worst thing ever, but it's not the most well thought out move ever. It was like I was thinking Milo was a pain, so let me just see how much this does. Like I could have like felt my way through that a little bit better, but that's fine. It's just a test game. So let me see what else I can do. What is this? Yeah, I can respect it. Like making sure the meta doesn't like quick EQ or something. I understand that. So HP to keep this chipped.
there we go.
Move. That's a good move.
Oh, by the way, for you guys that have been watching for a while, just want to say, this has been a really, really good time recording with Eden for this. Hope you guys have been sticking around for this long. I do apologize for the really long friendly video. I don't usually do these like for so long, but it's been really engaging. Doing this. That was a really good double edge, and I died.
Yeah, that would have. I would never have clicked it if I had a better arrow set, but yeah, this is why I enjoy HP Bug much more, because HP Bug was like very free to click there, but I couldn't click it because I didn't have it, so I couldn't click it. So that would have been good to have. Having the spike down would have been good too, but like Hypnosis is 60-40, so like I can't really whine about that with a straight face. Like, yeah, that's what Hypnosis does. It just does that. Yeah, that's fine. So the thing is, Hypnosis actually was great here because like it technically robbed me of a switch in. Like I can't switch versus the Tyranitar now. Like I would normally have had a spike plus a phase option, but right now with with Flagon, like it's pretty possible that's a special tar. I would not be very surprised to see that being like a Crunch Pursuit tar. Like Starmie definitely can't switch. Meta can't switch at this point. Tyranitar can switch, but if you are DD, I just auto lose on the spot. So yeah, that's Hypnosis is cool for stuff like this. Like it really. Having one less mon in an endgame really swings things, and you get to see why taking that Hydra with Metagross was a terrible idea in real time. So that's some instruction for people who are watching this later on. So hopefully they don't do that when they're playing their own games. So let me see what I can do from here. Game's always gonna. Yep. Okay. This endgame is sealed basically.
Well, it depends if you have Brick Break. If you do, oh, never mind. Okay.
Honestly, what I would have done there is I would have just. Did I show Brick Break? I guess it's on paper. I Fire Blasted, so you could have inferred from the Fire Blast damage that I probably don't have Focus Punch, so Brick Break doesn't KO the tar, so. +2 would have 100% sealed it, but +1 also all but seals it. My out at this point is it's the classic, isn't it? Just praying you get Rock Slide flinches. So I'll do my best impersonation of a 1100 ladder player and click Rock Slide 10 times and hope it works. So here goes nothing. There goes nothing. Yep. And that's why clicking Dragon Dance again there was an option, just because this is always a possibility.
Yeah.
With arrow in the back.
Yep.
Hopefully. Yeah. So. Yeah. I should have lost this. Normal universe. I should have lost this. But the good thing is your Celebi can actually, between your Celebi and your Milotic, you can actually still win this, but you have to outplay me a little bit now. It would have been brainless with either the second Dragon Dance or dodging a flinch, but it's still very much doable.
Yeah.
Yeah, my best play is like click it again. Yeah, that was like legit my best play, and now you. Oh shit! Yeah, yeah. This is one of those games. Yeah, yeah. This is one of those games where the arrow gets mega lucky and wins when it should lose. And yeah.
You know what? It is what it is. It is what it is.
You got some funny content for your YouTube channel. You get to watch me clinch everything down from 100.
Oh man.
Now this gets. Yeah, this was an ultra lucky arrow. There is no other way to put that.
That arrow went to win the lottery today.
That arrow took everything it could get and then some. So.
Pretty much.
Okay, so at this point, I actually like do have some win cons open to me now. Like the game actually opened up a little. Like I should have lost very like age ago, but now I get to heal up my Metagross a bit. I get to. I guess Celebi is fairly free. I guess Recovered is fairly free. Oh, yeah. Okay, that was kind of deserved.
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Yeah, that definitely, yeah, that, yeah, so these sort of end games are, so now it'll be about me fishing a full para, basically. I'll have to get a full para with, T-Wave me to change this. Or actually, like, if I was thinking a little bit straighter, what I would have said is, I T-Wave this, because I know this has no... I guess I could sack the Skarmory, honestly, at this point. But once I have 2 natural cure mons, it's fine. Versus Hypnosis, so...
I don't mind this too much.
Use cover. Okay, cool. Gotta recover off.
Alright, come on. There we go.
Get it off. Gonna sell it back in. Recover. So yeah, this end game will. Okay, cool. Gotta recover. It'll come down to me fishing out full pairs. So. Yeah, let's keep it going, I guess. Keep recovering. So.
Eventually a crit will come. Eventually.
Yeah, leech seeds. I basically need to land. I need you to full para in a certain window or I lose. So,
come on, meet dose. Here we go.
Yeah, this is basically. Yeah, it's just coin flipping, kind of just pray. Well, it's not coin flipping, I guess. Like I have good odds to. Yep. Okay, I had good odds to full para once at least. So I actually have to leech here at this point. So cool. So good move. So. Because I'll actually leech grass here, get some pressure. Here's your full para. Yeah, okay, this was better. Leech.
Oh, man,
okay,
this
yeah,
is yeah.
Yeah, I basically got Unreal. I wish that happened in my tour games, but I am not very well known for lucking my way past people in tour games. I am not known for that. So I can confidently tell you this has never happened to me in a game with any relevance. So you can take that to the bank.
Well, I guess you're gonna run with it too.
That was fun. Yeah, I enjoyed getting some games in, having a chat, and I'm looking forward to the video. And hopefully, I've actually never done this before, so I actually want to see if people even enjoy watching me ramble about stuff on stream. So yeah, that was fun. I liked it. So
hey, I appreciate you.
Yeah,
we can.
Yeah, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was definitely fun. If you ever want to get some more games in, game usually. Otherwise, yeah, that was fun. So it's it's like 2 a.m. now, so I should probably sleep if I want to have an enjoyable, useful weekend. So, yeah, I'll be out. I'm like, I guess I didn't finish my introduction at the start, so I guess I'll compress it at the very end.
Go ahead.
So, yeah, so this was a lot of people call me Eden or Sunny. I'm a 26-year-old dude working in finance and software. Well, currently I'm in software, and I'm a business analyst at the moment. I play mostly old gens. I don't play as many tours as I used to, but I still do enjoy getting games in, whether it be inside tours or just friendlies. So if anybody ever wants me to look at a team or get some games in with me, I'm usually pretty game for it. So that'll be all for me for the day. 2 a.m. and I'm pretty tired.
Wait,
so
I have one more question before you go, Eden.
Sure.
Okay, so for Callus Invite, who do you think is gonna win? Like, who's your top pick? You think that'll win it?
H-Plat is a very good. I actually have not been following it. Is Altina still in?
Yeah, he's still in, I think.
I would say, I would love for Altina or H-Clat to win. I'd say just on the basis of being the strongest player is I'd say Star. Star is like a definite favorite at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say Star is probably going to be a top 3 finish is my prediction. I'd say H-Clat or Altina could very easily finish. They could win, or they could easily also have a top 3 finish. ABR is always a contender. I don't know if ABR is still in. He's obviously always a contender to win tours. I actually don't know who else is in, but those would be my 4 picks at the moment.
Well, okay, from what I know, I think Dice is still in. I think he's still in there.
Oh, Dice is always a favorite in these old gen sort of tours. So yeah, I would not be surprised to see those 5 cut into the cash.
What about
actually? I actually like. I don't like poking fun at teams, but that team was not it to me. Like in one, yes, but he's good. He could easily cut into the cash as well. But I did not like watching an arrow outspeed a +1 men's. So he played pretty well though. I won't say he actually played really well considering that he had his hand tied behind his back with a slower than arrow DD men's at +1. So he actually played really well. I actually really enjoyed watching that game. I'd say Endel could also finish in the top cut. He's also pretty good. He had some nice looking games recently. So Endel would be my dark horse pick. I would say otherwise for a more traditional pick, I would say between ABR, Star, Altina, H-Clat, and Dice. And Mikmer is good, but I would still say it would be between those 5, would be my guess. H-Clat, at least if H-Clat wins, you know that they'll be very entertaining games.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
he's very what's the word I want to say? He's very creative with his builds too.
Yeah, he has very interesting teams, so that would be. I'd love to see him win. And Altina is one of my closest friends. I'd love to see him win as well. And Star is just an insanely strong player, so you cannot realistically say that he is not a contender to just win.
Of course.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the games. I will take my leave now before I fall asleep on stream.
All right.
I actually don't know if my voice sounds kind of weird. Like, it probably sounds kind of hoarse or kind of high-pitched because I've had a long day at work.
Yeah, it sounds very high-pitched.
So hopefully it will sound better if I do this another time.
I'm sorry about the late timing, man. I really
am.
Yeah,
that's no problem. No problem. Don't worry about it. So that was fun.
All right. I gotta end the video, Eden. Come on, man.
Yeah.
All right. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, please make sure to leave a like and comment on the video. And again, shout out Eden. Really, really cool guy. And again, we'll help you out with any of the tiers or any of the old gens. So yeah, that's that. Be safe. wash your hands, and I'll see you in the next Pokemon Showdown Live. For friendlies,
Alright.
I mean. Peace out.
Enjoy. See ya.